Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today, is Matt LaFleur in danger of getting fired by the Packers at the end of the season? What are we talking about? Well, if you guys had YouTube TV, you actually were winners last night because the Packers and the Eagles played in one of the most disgusting primetime games imaginable. It basically looked like both teams were trying to lose that game the entire time. Like the Eagles were like, hey, Packers, here you go. Here's the win. Then the Eagles were like, no, Packers, no, here's the win. Then the Packers were like, oh, no, Eagles, no, here's the win. The Eagles eventually won 10-7. Both teams' fan bases are absolutely disgusted. And it's getting to the point in Green Bay where Matt LaFleur's job security is starting to be questioned by the media and fans. And in fact, he was actually asked about it in a press conference last night. Let's now go ahead and take a listen to what Coach LaFleur had to say to that.
I understand you guys are 5-3-1, still have a
Sure.
playoff spot right now, and you're going to say you're always coaching for your job, but you don't have a long-term extension. With the way things have gone this season, do you think you're coaching for your job?
I'm not. I'll leave that for everybody else to decide. I'll just focus on the day-to-day and trying to do. I feel like you're always coaching for everything in this league. You know, that's just my mindset. It's always been that way. You can't ever exhale. You got to always be pushing, and that's just my mindset. So, and that will be my mindset until they tell me not to coach anymore.
This made me raise my eyebrow a little bit because, yeah, even though the Packers are on a 2-game losing streak, I was kind of like, well, the Packers still look like they are going to be a playoff team. Like, why is they're 2 games above 500? Why is his job security being questioned? He makes the playoffs almost every year. And then I saw this. I'll go ahead and show you guys this article here. Or I guess I won't show you the article, but I'll show you the title of it. I did read it, and I'll kind of share with you some of the information I got from it. So Matt Steedman is a Green Bay Packers beat reporter for The Athletic, and he posted this today. He posted this column today with the title, Matt LaFleur might be coaching for his job for the rest of the season. You can see in the graphic there, there's an excerpt from that article. Jeff Hafley's coordinating a championship defense. LaFleur's offense is far from that caliber. That might need to change over the next 2 months for him to keep his job. So to give you guys a little bit more background, I'm sure Packers fans know this stuff, but I don't think this was common knowledge with other NFL fans around the league. So Ed Policy takes over as the Packers president this offseason, June 2025, has the decision of whether or not to extend Matt LaFleur or Gutekunst, the GM, decides not to. And by the way, and this is what the reporter was referring to in the question that they asked Matt LaFleur was their contracts expire at the end of next season. Well, Ed Policy has basically said, yeah, we aren't going to be having like a lame duck coach coaching in the last year of his contract. So basically what that means at the end of the season, he's either going to get fired or they are going to give him an extension. And you always thought the way that the Packers had built this team, that this was a Super Bowl caliber team, that Matt LaFleur, that's not that big of a deal, that they basically said, hey, we're not going to extend you this offseason because obviously the Packers are going to be good this year, and then they'll end up extending Matt LaFleur. And now some of you may be wondering, wait, why is Matt LaFleur on the hot seat right now, or getting towards to the point where he will be on the hot seat? Like Matt LaFleur is a very good head coach. If he gets fired today, the Giants are going to line up to hire him. The Browns are going to line up to hire him. The Titans are going to line up to hire him. And a bunch of other teams that haven't fired a head coach are going to line up to hire him. If you look at his overall record with the Packers, he's 72-36-1. He's basically winning 2/3 of his games as the Packers head coach. But if you look at it a little bit closer, his first 3 years in Green Bay, it's 13 wins, 13 wins, 13 wins. Absolutely phenomenal. He's got MVP Rodgers. Then the last year, Rodgers, they go 8-9. And then the last 2 years, it's been 7 seed, 7 seed. And now this year, they are currently second in the division behind Detroit. And right now, the betting odds are saying that the Packers more than likely will not be the winners of the NFC North. And over the last 4 years, Matt LaFleur's record with the Packers is 33-26-1. For comparison's sake, Mike McDaniel has been coaching in Miami for the last 4 years, and his record is 31-30. So basically only 2.5 games better than Mike McDaniel. And by the way, Mike McDaniel down in Miami has way less resources than Matt LaFleur has up in Green Bay. His defense has never been as good. His quarterback hasn't been as good. I mean, he's had excellent wide receivers, and we all love Devon Achane. But the fact that their records are that similar is kind of a little bit of a red flag if you're talking about Matt LaFleur. And now let's talk about this year with Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers, and specifically on their offense. By the way, this is Jordan Love's 6th year with the Green Bay Packers. If you look at their overall stats on offense, they are 15th in points per game. They're 12th in yards per game. They're 11th in red zone touchdown percentage. They're actually first in third down conversion rate, or third down conversions in the NFL. So you kind of look at that stuff like, okay, like obviously that's not where you want to be, but like why is that something that's getting to the point where he's in danger of losing his job? Well, it's because the last 2 games the Packers are averaging 10 points per game. And this is something that I found incredibly interesting, and this is a stat that Matt Schneidman had in his article for The Athletic, and if you're an Athletic subscriber, I suggest you go read it because it's an interesting read. If you take out the first 2 games of the season, if you look at just the last 7 games for the Green Bay Packers, they're averaging 6.3 points per half. Points per first half, I should say. Points per first half. You would like to think with a quarterback that has been with you for 6 years and an offensive coach with a lot of offensive weapons all over the place. I understand there's been injuries that the Packers have been struggling with this season, but you would like to think that the beginning of the game is like we're seeing that in Minnesota. Like JJ McCarthy's coming out the first drive. He's got his hair on fire. The Minnesota Vikings are driving down, getting a touchdown, and then they're struggling with the rest of the game plan afterwards. The Packers, it's the exact opposite. They're coming out and they're starting off the game, and they're just starting off terribly. They're just doing a terrible job of getting leads to start off a lot of these games. And to give you guys an idea of why Packers fans have probably been filling up your timeline today with their displeasure of Matt LaFleur's play calling. I mean, I'm not talking about the 4th and 1 play where Josh Jacobs said in the post game that like, yeah, the Eagles like knew what play we were calling and they were yelling it out. They were like yelling out the play, and then they panicked. They snapped it early, and then the Packers obviously didn't convert it. But this is the first drive of the game for the Packers. They had a 9-play drive that went for 12 yards, and it was run, pass, run, 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 run. That's 5 runs in a row. Sack, incompletion, punt. Like what? And by the way, this is a Packers team that is 25th in rushing yards. They're 26th in yards per carry. Like, why are you leaning so heavily on the run if it's not working? And how are you one of the worst rushing teams in the NFL, and that's what you're starting off the game with? Like this is mind-boggling stuff, and this is why Packers fans are so upset. This is why Matt LaFleur is being asked these questions in the post game. And you look at it right now. You look at the NFC playoff picture with the Packers. So you have the 4 division winners. It's probably going to be the Eagles in the East. Let's say, for sake of argument, it's going to be the Lions in the North, and the South is going to be the Bucks. The West will be the Seahawks or the Rams. The loser of that division is going to be the 5 seed. And then basically you look around the rest of the NFC right now, and you got 3 teams realistically, unless you want to include like the Panthers in this conversation, which I really don't think we should, or if the Cowboys get really hot in the second half of the season, or if the Vikings get really hot in the second half of the season, you realistically have 3 teams competing for those last 2 playoff spots. You have the San Francisco 49ers, who I wrote this down. What are their next 4 games? Their next 4 games are at Arizona, home against Carolina, at Cleveland, home against Tennessee. I think they will win all 4 of those games, so I think they're getting one of those spots. So basically, the last playoff spot in the NFC is going to go down to the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. And the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. So basically, the Chicago Bears have an opportunity right now to, if they get that spot, and by the way, they both play each other twice. They haven't played yet this year. Have an opportunity to get Matt LaFleur fired, because based off all the stuff that I've just told you, the decline of Matt LaFleur's winning percentage since he hasn't had prime Aaron Rodgers. Again, this is Jordan Love's his fourth or third year as a starter, I believe. Like, it's getting to the point, like, he's very talented. I think a lot of teams really want him. The Packers are paying him $200 million. They just got a first-round wide receiver in Matthew Golden. Again, we know that there's injuries on the offensive line. I know Elton Jenkins, the center, being hurt is devastating to them, and the offensive line isn't playing that well. But, I mean, that's the NFL, man. You're going to have injuries. You got to make up for this stuff in other ways. You got to coach yourself out of this stuff. And right now, I think if they don't make the playoffs, he's gone. I think if Matt LaFleur does not make the playoffs, he is gone, because this offseason move of going and getting Micah Parsons, trading multiple first-round picks for him, making him like he became the highest paid defensive player in NFL history, paying him like a king's ransom of money. That was the move that the Packers were making. Like, no, we're tired of the Detroit Lions running our division. We're tired of that. We're coming back for it. We're going to go run the NFC. We're going to run through the playoffs, and we're going to go win the Super Bowl. That was a Super Bowl type of move. And you make this big Super Bowl type of move, and you miss the playoffs? Like, it's not good. And even now, if they make the playoffs, I mean, they could still win the division. That's not out of the realm of possibility. The Packers could go and dominate the second half of the season, win the division, and make a playoff run. This video is going to look silly if they do that. But there's a very good likelihood that they could be the 7th seed again. And basically what Matt LaFleur has been without, if that is the case, what Matt LaFleur has been without Aaron Rodgers is 7th seed, 7th seed, 7th seed. And that is not good enough for the Packers, that are one of the most winning franchises in NFL history, that want success, that are not bad that often, that are used to making the playoffs every single year, are used to running the NFC North like it's hard to walk. So basically that's it, guys. That's why Matt LaFleur is getting asked these questions. That's why, if this offense over the second half of the year is going to be struggling and is going to be up and down, is going to be inconsistent, and there's going to be questionable play calling, why Matt LaFleur might lose his job at the end of this year. Again, he'll probably, if he does, he'll probably get picked up by one of these teams that has either already fired their head coach, like New York and Tennessee, or will fire their head coach. So there you have it. And I feel like I had one more thing I was going to say. Nah, I don't have. Man, whatever. Yeah, that's basically it, man. They have the defense. This is what I was going to say. You know, for so many years in the Aaron Rodgers era, for the Packers, it was like, we need a defense. We need a defense. We need a defense. In fact, I think the Packers spent like 8 years in a row drafting defensive guys in the first round. And then the thing that really annoyed me with some of the national media that was Aaron Rodgers defenders was like, why aren't they drafting a wide receiver in the first round for Aaron? And it's like, wait a minute, you guys were complaining about defense all of these years. They go defense, 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 defense. And then all of a sudden it's, why not wide receivers? It's like, I don't know, you're drafting Devontae Adams in the second round, who is, by the way, still doing it. He's still doing his thing with the Los Angeles Rams right now. You're getting guys like Jordy Nelson in the second round, and Randall Cobb was around forever. And I mean, even if you look at some of these guys on the team now, like Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, I mean, those guys obviously can't stay healthy, but those guys are talented players when they're on the field. So, yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Matt LaFleur on the hot seat if you're a Packers fan. If they go to the 7th seed or they miss the playoffs this year, what would you guys do? Would you extend him? Would you fire him? Who would you want if you fired him? It's also the other thing, too. There isn't like a lot of... It's not like there's a bunch of prime coaching candidates out there. You know, there's not like, you know, just this obvious like Ben Johnson coach in waiting type of, you know, figure that is out there just waiting to be swooped up by somebody. So, or at least not yet. Maybe that person will emerge in the second half of the season. But again, Packers fans, NFL fans, let me know what you think. Matt LaFleur deserved to be on the hot seat. Is this unfair? What do you think about the team? What do you think's wrong with it? Is this fixable? Is the offense fixable, or is it broken beyond repair? Because the last 2 weeks, that it kind of looks broken beyond repair. So, yeah, it's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't done so already, like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Trying to get to that 1,000 number. We get to that 1,000 number. That's a very big milestone for this channel. And if you guys can help us on that journey, I'd very much appreciate it. If you want a little bit more of a positive NFL video, we did a show with Jake Arthur this morning, who covers the Indianapolis Colts, and we talked about the Colts this season and what their potential is in the AFC and how far they can actually go in the playoffs, and the emergence of Daniel Jones. So, yeah, make sure you check that stuff out, and thank you for watching. We'll talk to you next time.